Jim, you talk about merchandising as such an important thing, but you say it's not a technology problem. What kind of problem is it?
Well, technology is a component of it, but technology, there's a lot of good companies out there that will solve the technology. GDSs are working on it, we're working on it, ITA, Datalex, I can't name them all, but there's a mindset that has to go in. There's got to be an acceptance of it. And the tail's wagging the dog now. So I think once we get the front end of it and get the where you're going to buy up, you're going to actually figure that out. And so it's a technology component, but it's not a technology problem.
So why all the resistance if this has such a big upside to it? What's the deal with that?
Well, we were making it an unpleasant experience. I mean, I don't know the last time you paid for a bag, but if you're a corporate traveler, you have to obviously go to a kiosk now or go to a check-in counter and pay money where you never had to do that before. We haven't simplified the process. Once we simplify the process, all that goes away and adoption starts to spring. So we basically went in there with something, we didn't think through the process. It worked on one side, so they're not going to, on the supply side, so they're not going to back off on that. But now we've got to actually work on the customer side to make it a good experience for them. The airlines know that.
But the customers see it as just gouging them some more. How do you change that perception?
Yeah, that's a great question. The question is and it's a gouging because that's our first experience with it. Our first experience is we've always had bags included in our ticket price for years. The challenge is how do we get acceptance to that and other services like we do in the consumer marketplace. We don't necessarily get a lot of bundled pricing out there in retail. You go to a restaurant, you order dessert, it doesn't necessarily come with a meal unless you get a fixed price bundle. So we're used to it in a lot of areas except travel. So again, I think the better we bundle prices, the better we explain it, the better we put transparency to it, the more we're going to have acceptance and adoption.
So where does mobile fit in? I mean, is this something that we're talking about just for airline websites or mobile? Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think this is the biggest enabler of merchandising. It's with us all the time. I mean, you and I both have ours with us right now. We have it just basically, it's on our bedside stand when we go to bed. It's going to be the biggest enabler for what I call customer recovery at first. For change, and then it's going to lead into customer recovery. Like I just got off a plane in Dallas, and my next flight is delayed 3 hours. I get a little ping on my guard, said, we know you're not a member of the Admirals Club. Your flight's delayed for 3 hours. Come on in on us. That's customer recovery. That's the first area I think we're going to see a lot of these mobile applications. Then there's going to be a lot of prompting and pushing to say, look, do you want the movie package? Do you want to upgrade your seat? Throughout this whole process. So mobile to me is going to be where all post-ticketing merchandising takes place.
Where does your own company fit in with movie packages?
Well, I think there's two parts of it. We're investing very heavily in merchandising pricing engine. So part of that is actually how do you define the product and how do you put a price to it? And we've, in the last year and a half, have spent a lot of money, frankly, betting on that. So we think that's a good opportunity for us, as well as the airlines are going to have to deliver this differently than they do today. They're going to have to start delivering full package price rather than letting a third party create their price. Very different fundamental shift, and we're focusing on both the engine and the delivery of the whole package.
We've talked before a lot about the slowness of the travel industry to innovate, and this is another area. Are you hopeful?
Yeah, I actually don't think it's the slowness to innovate, it's the slowness to adopt innovation. Because there's a lot of companies out there that innovate. I mean, we see a lot of them here at PhoCusWright. I think this is a big enough piece of the pie that those that continue to resist change are going to find themselves very disadvantaged. So it's not a question of, are they going to innovate? They've already innovated. The question is, are we going to adopt it? And I think there's a lot of people waiting for that game of chicken, frankly. Is it going to be adopted or not be adopted? There's been a lot of discussions in the past, but I do think we're at a focal point in the industry right now.